You have been conditioned to believe that the world is a fair and just place. Society, institutions, and modern media have meticulously trained you to believe that honesty, transparency, and raw hard work are the ultimate keys to success. That is a catastrophic illusion. The reality of human interaction is entirely different. We operate in a perpetual, invisible state of hierarchy. Power is not given to the most moral individual. Power is seized by the individual who understands the dark mechanics of human nature. The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is not just a book. It is a clinical mirror reflecting the brutal evolutionary software of the human mind. Some of these laws are necessary for basic survival. Others cross the line into pure, psychological toxicity. In the next few minutes, we will dissect 10 of the most effective laws of power. We will rank them from the least to the most toxic, exposing the exact biological and psychological triggers that make them work. Write this down immediately. Morality is a luxury for those who already have power. Strategy is the weapon for those who want to acquire it. Let us dismantle the illusion. We begin with a law of pure survival. Law number 1. Never outshine the master. From an evolutionary perspective, the hierarchy is everything. The alpha of the tribe demands absolute respect and submission. When you enter a room and display too much competence, too much charisma, or too much intelligence, you assume you are proving your worth. You are completely wrong. You are triggering the fragile ego of the person above you. The human ego is highly volatile. When a superior feels intellectually or socially threatened by a subordinate, their biological response is not admiration, it is fear and retaliation. To survive, you must master the art of strategic humility. You must actively manage the insecurities of those in power. Flatter them. Make them feel superior. Hide the full extent of your capabilities until the exact moment you no longer need them. This is not toxic. This is basic social preservation. This brings us to the paradox of human connection. Law number 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. This concept destroys the romanticized view of friendship. You naturally want to hire your friends, work with them, and trust them with critical decisions. This is a fatal evolutionary mistake. Friends hide their true feelings. They conceal their envy to protect the harmony of the group. When you give a friend power, their hidden resentment will eventually surface, leading to catastrophic betrayal. An enemy, however, is entirely predictable. You know exactly what an enemy wants. When you forge a wary alliance with a former rival, they have everything to prove. They will work twice as hard to demonstrate their loyalty. Trusting blindly is a weakness. Evaluating human utility over emotional attachment is the hallmark of a strategic mind. To truly navigate this landscape, you must master information asymmetry. Law number 3. Conceal your intentions. Human beings are deeply reactive creatures. The moment you declare your grand ambitions, your goals, or your next move, you immediately invite unwanted interference. People will judge you, they will steal your ideas, or worse, they will actively sabotage your path just to maintain their own sense of superiority. You must operate in the fog of war. Do not prematurely reveal your targets. Keep your inner circle entirely in the dark until the execution is complete. When you conceal your intentions, you hold all the leverage. You remain unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds fear and respect. This ties directly into the biological weight of your words. Law number 4. Always say less than necessary. Modern society rewards those who talk constantly. People overshare their emotions, their plans, and their daily routines, believing that volume equals value. It does not. Verbose individuals leak power with every syllable. When you talk too much, you inevitably say something foolish, exposing your insecurities to the environment. The elite operator understands the brutal power of the void. Silence creates an immediate psychological vacuum. When you respond with brief, calculated answers, you force the other person to project their own thoughts and anxieties into the silence. You create mystique. You appear profound, dominant, and entirely unaffected by the pressure of the moment. The less you say, the more dangerous you appear. But silence is only one part of the armor. Your external projection is equally vital. Law number 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. In the ancestral environment, reputation was a matter of physical survival. If the tribe believed you were a coward, you were exiled and left to die. Today, the mechanics are identical, only the battlefield has changed. A solid, impenetrable reputation is an invisible army. It fights for you before you even enter the room. It deters threats, manipulates perceptions, and forces compliance without requiring a single ounce of physical force. But this reputation must be grounded in reality. Artificial branding is easily detected by the human subconscious. Guard your name ruthlessly. Destroy any narrative that attempts to undermine your competence. Yet, a pristine reputation is useless if you remain entirely invisible. Law number 6. Court attention at all costs. We are moving slightly higher on the toxicity scale. In the modern economy, obscurity is a death sentence. It does not matter how intelligent, skilled, or capable you are. If no one knows you exist, you have zero leverage. The human brain is wired to prioritize whatever is placed directly in front of it. Therefore, any attention is valuable currency. Scandal, controversy, and outrageous behavior are simply tools to hijack the collective dopamine system of the public. Modern celebrities and politicians understand this perfectly. They would rather be intensely hated than completely ignored. To court attention is to force the world to acknowledge your existence, even if you have to disrupt the peace to do it. Now, we cross the threshold into the dark, morally ambiguous territory. Law number 7. Get others to do the work, but always take the credit. This is where the true ruthlessness of the hierarchy is exposed. History is littered with brilliant minds who died in absolute poverty because they misunderstood this law. Consider the tragic reality of Nikola Tesla. He was a generational genius, an inventor of unmatched capability. But he lacked the psychological armor to protect his creations. Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse exploited his intellect, claimed the credit, and hoarded the wealth. The world does not reward the one who does the labor. The world rewards the one who controls the narrative and owns the distribution. Delegating tasks while ruthlessly safeguarding your contributions is the only way to avoid becoming a disposable asset in someone else's empire. It is clinically toxic, but undeniably effective. To truly master this dynamic, you must change the physics of pursuit. Law number 8. Make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. The weak man is constantly chasing. He chases opportunities, he chases relationships, and he chases validation. When you chase, you are actively communicating that you have low intrinsic value. You are operating from a position of deep biological desperation. The strategist flips the board. You must engineer an environment where the target is naturally drawn to you. You use their own ego, their own greed, and their own desires as the bait. When you force the other person to cross the room, to initiate the deal, or to ask for your time, you instantly claim the high ground. Attracting through strategic positioning and calculated self-improvement is infinitely more powerful than aggressive pursuit. Let them burn their energy while you conserve yours. When they finally arrive, you must never engage in verbal combat. Law number 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. The human brain is heavily fortified against logical persuasion. When you argue with someone, you trigger their defensive mechanisms. They will dig their heels in, protect their ego, and resent you, even if your logic is absolutely flawless. Arguing is a massive waste of cognitive energy. To truly dominate, you must bypass their logic entirely. You demonstrate your power through undeniable results. When Michelangelo was criticized about the nose of his David statue, he did not argue. He simply climbed the scaffolding, dropped some marble dust, and pretended to alter the statue. The critic was satisfied, and Michelangelo won without uttering a single defensive word. Results bypass the ego, words simply inflame it. And finally, we arrive at the apex of psychological toxicity. A law so biologically dangerous it can destroy your entire reality. Law number 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. This is not about lacking empathy. It is about understanding the brutal mechanics of emotional contagion. Human beings are deeply susceptible to the emotional states of those around them. Misery, chronic victimhood, and negativity are literal psychological pathogens. Consider the historical ruin left behind by individuals who fed on chaos. They drag everyone in their orbit down into depression, failure, and financial ruin. You cannot save a drowning person who is actively trying to pull you under. If you surround yourself with the unhappy and the chronically unlucky, their mindset will infect your reality. Your standards will drop. Your energy will rot. You must ruthlessly quarantine yourself from toxic influences. Cut the cord. Distance yourself without hesitation or guilt. Preserving your psychological sovereignty is your only obligation. You have been given the blueprint. The 48 laws of power are not instructions on how to be evil. They are a clinical diagnosis of the human condition. The world is divided into those who understand these dynamics and those who are victimized by them. You can choose to remain naive, complaining about the unfairness of the system while you are constantly passed over and manipulated. Or you can strip away the comforting lies, learn the dark mechanics of human nature, and build an impenetrable fortress around your mind and your resources. Inventory your surroundings today. Are you outshining a fragile master? Are you arguing when you should be acting? Are you infected by the miserable? Stop being a passive participant in your own life. If you want to understand the exact evolutionary frameworks that separate the apex operators from the invisible masses, subscribe to the channel. Master the laws. Master the game. See you in the next protocol.